I'm Rich Taylor, a sales engineer for Squirrel Compliancy Solutions. In this video, we'll be reviewing the PSIRT for Cisco iOS and iOS XE as it relates to SNMP configurations that can allow denial of service via remote code execution. The PSIRT and CVE number 20352 relates to those specific iOS and iOS XE platforms and the SNMP configurations that exist on those devices. They also offer a workaround to mitigate via remediation. You can optionally plug in the OS version to check to see if that is an impacted OS version through the website. The Squirrel CS team has curated a rule to validate the vulnerability for said operating systems and platforms, and also validates the configuration within those devices. Through the Squirrel support portal, there's a recently published article referenced by CISA Emergency Directive 2503. We can click on this article, and then there's a link to download the rule that's curated to validate the specific Cisco PSIRT and CVE-2025-20352. Those rules are packaged in a zip file and uploaded to the platform. We also have a link to the CVE and the Cisco website in this article for reference. Now I'm logged into my Squirrel Defender instance, and in order to take advantage of these curated rules, we have to be on the most current version of Squirrel Defender, which is version 2.3 MR0.1.0.0.g, Flying Squirrel. I've brought the rules into this environment, uploaded them, and I've created an audit that houses the policy that houses the rule. Now within this audit, I'm auditing target iOS and iOS XE devices to check for that CVE 200352 as it relates to SNMP configurations. I'm going to click play to go ahead and execute this audit. We get a pop-up at the bottom, audit scheduled successfully. I'll navigate to audit status in the left-hand menu. And here we can see that our security control audit is queued up. So it's leveraging those Docker containers, performing that analysis on those devices in real time to check for those SNMP configurations and the OS version to make sure it's not an impacted version. I'm going to refresh this in the top right. And we can see it took about 13 seconds to audit 3 assets, and we came back with 4 findings. We'll look at the findings summary report. We can see that we audited 3 different assets, and we had 1 asset that came back with findings. I'm going to expand this bottom pane, give me a little bit more space. And here we can see that our target device was impacted by our CVE rule, and we also have potential remediation that we can push to mitigate via remediation. Now optionally, what we can do is we can select all of these findings, and then from the Actions menu, select Export. That'll create an alert where we can then download a CSV of that impacted data. Now I've downloaded that CSV and opened it up in a CSV viewer. We can see the asset IP, the device name, the rule that was run against it, the CVE, and that violation message as it relates to those SNMP configurations. We also have the remediation commands that we can either push through Squirrel Defender or share to the CAB and say, hey CAB team, these are the commands we want to issue. Are we approved to go ahead and remediate? Now either performing manually or through remediation with Squirrel Defender, we can fix this open CVE 200352 based upon the suggested workaround provided by Cisco. Now based upon the findings that we gathered from the CVE exposure, we're going to perform remediation with Squirrel Defender. I'll go to the findings summary. I'm going to select all of the findings and potential remediation that we're going to push against this asset. And from the Actions menu, I'm going to select Run Remediation. Now, Defender does not automatically remediate. It is something that does require user interaction. And we do this by design. We want our users to get approval from the CAB, make sure it's performed during that change window, and then we allow the user to select which findings to perform remediation against. We're going to select all of these and click Next. And we're going to go ahead and schedule this remediation to execute now. And as a safeguard, we're not going to commit the configuration to that device, meaning we're not going to perform a write memory operation. This way, in the event if anything should become non-functional, we can perform a reboot of that device to bring it back to a functioning state. We can optionally schedule a commit job to run to go ahead and perform that write memory operation once we're sure that the device is stable with these updated configurations. I'll click Save. And we still get one more pop-up. Are you sure you want to perform remediation? Yes, we do. We get a pop-up scheduling remediation background as far as the job. We'll go back to Audit Status. Refresh this page. Actually clear my filter. So we can see that my remediation job is in progress against that one asset that is impacted. We're going to let this remediation job run. Now, remediation jobs do not generate findings because they're not auditing the device. They are just performing those remediation commands against our target asset. Refresh this. And we can see that our remediation job completed in 5 seconds against that one asset. And again, no findings. But how are we sure that our remediation worked? Well, we're going to re-audit that same asset by running that audit we initially created with that CVE. Go to Analysis, Audits. I'm going to click play on that CVE audit we created. Audit scheduled successfully. Go back to my audit status page. I'm going to filter again based upon my audit name. And we can see that that audit job is queued up. We'll give that a second to run. Now, after completing the remediation, we re-audited those same 3 assets. We now have no findings, so this tells me that we do not have that exposure based upon the configurations that were pushed to that device and the rule logic. So now we've remediated that impacted asset that did come up with those findings. As a reminder, it would be best practice to follow your internal compliance schedule for CVE validation and schedule the audit to run within Squirrel Defender for that continuous monitoring, right? As you bring assets into Squirrel Defender, you want to make sure you're constantly monitoring for any CVE exposure, therefore allowing those threats to be uncovered. If you have any questions, contact sales at the email address below, or for current customers, open a ticket through the support portal or reach us via the support number. Thank you for watching.